so now we're going to paint the metal parts, and I'm going to paint these in kind of like a rust scheme. So what I've got here is I took silver, the Vallejo Model Air Silver, and I added black to it as well to darken it. You can use their bolt gun equivalent. I don't have it, so I'm just improvising. And then I took dark flesh, vomit brown, or vermin brown rather, and blazing orange. And so you can use any colors. You don't have to use the exact ones I use, just as long as they're approximate. A dark red brown, an orange brown, and then an orange, and then a dark metal. And I'm just going to go ahead and base coat with the metallic color. Just like this. And I added a little bit of water to it, help it flow. No reason why you shouldn't add water. Actually, you should add water because metallic paint is notorious for clogging up detail, so don't be afraid to add water. Right, so I'm just going to go ahead and just paint all this. Alright, I'll see you back when I'm done. So I've also added black and turquoise to the mix because I want to do some more, I want to do shading, and I also want to try some verdigris. See how it looks. May not work, but it's all done. So now what I'm going to start with the darkest rust color. And the reason why is because rust, the way it works is the oldest color of rust is actually going to be the darkest. So new rust is going to be really bright. So I like to start with the darker colors. That way, as you layer up, the oldest rust is actually on the bottom, which it naturally would be anyways. So I like to thin it down. Most people will like keep it thick and like stipple it on, like just poke at it. And I don't like that. I like using the glazing technique. Mixed with like a washing technique. So it's kind of like this. You get this kind of feel. You do want it to look kind of random. So just kind of as you're doing it, just poking around. The end result will look good once we're done all the layering and finish everything up. And you just want to go over all the stuff with this. Pretty simple. It's almost like washing. Right, you want it to get into the cracks because that's where the oldest rust is going to be. The place where rust won't be is at the edges because once rust gets there, it'll chip away because edges are the parts that are going to be hitting things, and the rust will just chip off. But we're gonna be. I'll show you a way how we can do that really easily afterwards. Right, and I'm just gonna do that to the whole thing. All right, so now we're gonna go on to the vermin brown, and for this, we actually want to stipple it a little more, but we're still gonna keep it quite thin, and we're just gonna make it random. And for this step, it's okay to go over the model like multiple times to get like the look you're going for. Like that looks okay. I may even want to just come in from the top, get a more random kind of look as opposed to little blobs of paint. Yeah, that looks a little better. And you're just gonna go in, just do that. For this step, you want to try not to get it in the cracks as much. You can get it in some of the cracks, but as I said before, the lighter the color, the newer the rust. So you want to try and have it so this is fairly new rust, which means there's going to be less of it too. So that's why we're stippling, to kind of put it in less of the place as opposed to washing it. Alright, I'm just going to do this everywhere. So now we're just going to do the blazing orange. Same thing, except we're going to make it even more sparse. So we're going to just kind of bam, 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 bam. Just kind of make random patterns. Don't just go like side, 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 side like I did right up here. Come back in and like just make it more random. Right, and you want this to be the least one because this one is going to be the newest rust, right? And it's going to be small in the amount that's actually going to be there. And once again, don't be afraid to go over multiple times until you get the look you want. Alright, I'm going to do this everywhere and we'll come back. So the next step, we're actually going to go back and we're going to take this metallic color, and all I want you to do is use the blister foam that the model came with, rip a piece off like this, and we're just going to dab that in the metallic paint. Okay, now that's way too much paint on there. So what we want to do is we want to dab that excess away until almost nothing is coming out. So it almost looks like it's just sporadic. I'm just going to keep dabbing, 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 and if you look here, that's pretty much what we want. We want almost nothing, just little sporadic bursts. Then what we're going to do is we're going to come back in, and you just want to hit the edges, right? Bam, 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 bam. It's like instant rust. And get different angles of the sponge, because you don't want it to look the same all the time as you're dipping it down. Right? Look at that. Almost like instant rust look. It's crazy. It's like a liquid. Well, it's not really liquid. Well, it is kind of liquid rust. But it's just crazy. I love how it looks. And you're just going to keep doing that. There you go. So once you get all that done, now what we're actually going to do is we're going to come in and we're going to use this turquoise, and then we're actually going to thin it down just a little bit. And we're going to do verdigris. And verdigris and scale really only happen when the metal has been exposed to a wetness, and technically when rust happens it's because it's wet. But the scale and verdigris generally only happen in damp areas, so like by the sea. Verdigris also happens a lot to like bronze and copper. That's why sometimes you'll see really old copper with like this white bluish color stuff on it. It's just verdigris. It doesn't happen too often with normal metal, but all I'm going to do is just kind of glaze it on. Not everywhere, just in some areas. And it's just going to give a slightly green tint, bluish green tint. It's going to look pretty cool. Going to also tie the metal into the skin, because the skin also has that kind of bluish tint to it. Right, you don't want to add too much, because once you start adding too much, it overtakes the metal and starts making it not look how you want it to. So just in some areas. Alright. To finish off the metal, all we're going to do is take watered down black, and we're just going to accentuate the shadows. So down here, we're just going to darken it up a bit by just adding some black. And all that's going to do is just add more contrast, because it's going to be darker up here, lighter up there. And it's going to just really kind of pop it. And you just want to put it in the shadows, just like the glazing technique, except we're just doing it on metallics. That here, and for this part you can just kind of run it along this curve up in there. Look baller. Alright, I'll see you when I'm finished.